Isaiah Stewart had a brief exchange after the throwdown to Rudy Gobert. Stewart walks right in DiVincenzo's direction, says something here. Will bump the point. Playoff intensity early in this ball game. DiVincenzo disrespected Fontecchio, picks up the offensive foul. And now, again, a shoving match once again. Stewart. Burnham was a really good high school player. Good three, turned the corner and is fouled by Allen. Damn, oh, come on now. DiVincenzo. Big time brawl now in the front row. It's going to take a lot to break this up. Gotta stay out of the crowd. This is going to be good. This has been building on the last handful of possessions.
Hola, hello, tudo bem, como estás, konnichiwa, what it do? Thank you for listening to this episode of the J-Boy Sports Podcast. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the Detroit Pistons. I've actually been trying to talk about them more. I've been closely following them since maybe the halfway merger of the season. I just haven't had an opportunity to really talk about them more in depth because there's just been so much oxygen being swallowed by other things within the basketball community. However, recently and yesterday, there was a new brawl that the Pistons found themselves in the middle of. We're going to call this the Malice away from the Palace because they weren't actually at the Palace. I don't know if y'all were around. Most of y'all probably were if you're a listener of mine. That y'all were around for the original Malice in the Palace back in the day between the Detroit Pistons with Ben Wallace and Ron Artest, also known as Metta World Peace now. That was a brawl for the ages. It got a lot of people in trouble. Some people got in trouble with criminal charges and stuff like that. They tried to get them on criminal charges. It was definitely Malice in the Palace. But this was Malice away from the Palace. Now, nobody got punched. There was no fans that got injured that I saw. But there was a lot of pushing, a lot of shoving, some takedowns, UFC style. And the funny thing is, I showed the video at the beginning of this video. And who's at the center of it? The person at the center of it is a guy named Dante DiVincenzo, who seemingly is about that life. Looks like Naz Reid gets fouled. I didn't see the foul particularly hard. It just looks like him and Ron Hollis, I believe is the name. I guess they don't mess with each other like that. He jumps kind of in his face, points a finger. Next thing you know, Dante DiVincenzo's in the middle of it. They're rustling and rumbling and bumbling, in the words of Chris Berman. Only this isn't football. Then Isaiah Stewart ain't going to be far away if he's on the floor. Because he's coming in like a wild Wolverine to finish you off. He's looking for a fight anyway. There's some pushing, some shoving. Rudy Gobert is in there doing absolutely nothing, per usual. Already got choked out by Draymond. Maybe he doesn't have anything left. And it was just a lot of pushing, a lot of shoving. And Detroit looks like they don't play that. Now, they ended up getting smacked because with the players that they lost in that game because people got ejected, obviously. But you got to like Detroit, man. You have to like Detroit. The reason why I like Detroit is because it's no frills. You know what I mean? Like, they're coming out and they're competing every single night. They're fighting hard every single night. And they're out there to win basketball games. They're not out there to make friends. And there's a part of you that if you're a real basketball fan that's been around for a while like myself, been watching the game for at least 20 years, and you miss that. You miss people caring about games. These guys aren't worried about sitting out. They're not worried about getting ejected. They're worried about putting BTA, all right? and actually, let me change that. I'm going to call it BTB because I don't like to curse, right? They're only interested in beating you down and putting belt to butt, all right? Belt to butt cheeks. That's what they're out here doing, no Diddy style, all right? These guys are for real. And, I like the passion. I really do. I appreciate it. So while some people might say, oh, that's not inappropriate and blah, blah, blah. Look, man, sports is physical. Sports is tough. I'd rather see a mini mosh pit than all this kumbaya and everybody loves each other and nobody's enemies. And, why don't you come play with me? I'll go play with you. Why don't we play together? No. Tired of that, man. Tired of it. And the Pistons are a loyal group. The coach got ejected. Is that Bernie Bickerstaff? Who's the coach of the Pistons? Let me just take a quick look. Is that Bickerstaff? Which guy is that? Hold on. Let me just take a quick look. Let me just see who that is. Yes, that is J.B. Bickerstaff. I don't know who Bernie Bickerstaff is. But that's J.B. Bickerstaff. And he even got ejected. And afterwards, he has some choice words for the media. And let's check that out. I like what he said, but let's check it out real quick.
What do you see from your perspective, and then what did officials tell you on the ejections?
I guess obviously things went too far. I think, the initial part of it, you go back and watch the film and see where it started. And then obviously things escalated from there. But, what you see is guys looking out for one another, guys trying to protect one another, guys trying to have each other's back. And that's that.
What are the raw emotions for you and in that locker room after a night like tonight?
Obviously, you're frustrated. The game didn't go the way that we hoped it would have gone. That instance is one of those things where, when you play the way that we play, you earn a reputation. You're going to be tested, and guys think, that's what they have to do. But you regret obviously where all of it took place. That's not something you ever want to see happen. But again, I thought our guys stood their ground and defended each other and had each other's back. And those are non-negotiables in our locker room, is that you stand your ground and you defend one another and have each other's backs. And I thought our guys did that tonight.
Hey, Coach John, what can you share about what the refs told you, what happened, what led to your ejection with their assistant coach?
There were things said by their assistant coach, and I'm in the same boat as my guys are in. We're going to defend each other, and I'm not going to let people say belligerent things about my guys, and it's that simple. So he said what he says. He knows what he said, again, I didn't think it crossed the line to escalation of anything, but in that moment I understand, the ref's position. You just can't say anything to people or about people and expect it to be okay. Good. Thank y'all.
Yeah.
And so that's some feedback from J.B. Bickerstaff about his team and the brawl. And, he actually got ejected too. He got into it with one of the assistant coaches on the T-Wolves, and he was ejected. And he basically said, listen, he said some stuff about my guys, and I didn't like it. I'm going to protect my guys. And I like what J.B. I like what he's selling here, man. He said, we stand up for each other. We're going to stand up for each other. We're going to, not let anybody push us around. He said that's non-negotiables in our locker room. And I like it, man. I like it. And you could tell that this Pistons team is showing more pride, energy, effort in their play. They really believe that they're a real contender. And I'm going to be honest with you. When Cade is on his game, he is similar to me to a Luka Doncic. I think obviously Luka's still better, but Cade is on his way. And I think it's going to be interesting to see where he ends up at, but he's a similar player in that you can't really rush him. And we saw how far Luka got last year with that similar style. So who knows what Cade can do this year with that team. They're a tough team. They're physical. They really get into you. Pause, no Diddy, no baby oil. And they make things tough, man. And Duran down there, Jalen Duran, he's big. He's strong. He don't really have, like, the greatest hops, but he's strong, man. Like, you can't move him. He's powerful. Ron Hollis, he's tough. Cade, obviously, is on his way to superstardom. They got one of the Thompson brothers, so you know if one of them is on the court, there's a freak athlete in training and in waiting. They got Malik Beasley, who's a bona fide sniper. They got Tim Hardaway Jr., who's a bona fide sniper. They're a good team. And they got my boy Isaiah Stewart. When there's a brawl around, Isaiah's putting a pause on somebody. Just make sure it's not you. Because Isaiah he's putting pause on somebody. That's what Isaiah Stewart does. And people try to front and be, he's like another Draymond. Nah, he's not Draymond. Draymond's still a little passive aggressive with his stuff. He be attacking people's private parts. Isaiah Stewart is coming right to your chest. He's going to get in your face and he's going to ask you what's good. And he's pretty good too. He's a good player, man, in my opinion. He reminds me of this day and age's actual Charles Oakley. He's not afraid. He's ready to battle. When you got, don't nobody want to mess with this team. You got Jalen Duran, Hollis, you got Isaiah Stewart. Excuse me, his name is Ron Hollins, not Hollis. I'm sorry, Ron Hollins. See, that's a new team, so I'm still trying to get used to, their names and stuff like that. But, you got a nice front line. You got some veterans. Malik Beasley, he tweeted something out the other night like, yo, we're ready, basically, this is a strong team, and they're really ready for that action. And I root for them. I like to see young teams come up, and I think they can really make some noise. And they're tough, man, and they're physical. And no, they don't have to fight everybody. That's not what we're saying. Not saying every night they're going to get in a fight, but you're just not going to be pushing them around. You're going to have to actually beat them at the game of basketball. We don't have to worry about them actually being tough and fighting back and quitting and stuff. That's not this team. The coach is getting ejected. Everybody's getting ejected. They're not quitters. They're not going to be soft. You're going to have to actually beat them. Your skill is going to have to be higher than their skill. Your will is going to have to be higher than their will. So that's what we like to see in the NBA. We all should be, rooting for a team like that. Get this soft nonsense, this soft buttercup nonsense up out of here. You know what I mean? Let's get back to being physical in the league. So thank you for listening to this episode of the J-Boy Sports Podcast. I really like the Pistons. I like what they're doing. They're a fun team to watch, in my opinion, as well. So if you ever get a chance, try to catch a Pistons game. Please like, share, and subscribe. Wait a little bit after the video ends because there's some suggested videos that you might be interested in. Thank you very much for your time. I'm very humble. Much love.
That somehow you never get over leaving